The following account of the real reason for Holmes' retirement was found amongst Dr. Watson's private papers after his death. It is not dated, but from internal evidence, noticeably the mention of ladies' hatpins, it may be placed around 1903 to 1905. It was my intention to close these memoirs with the remarkable chain of circumstances resulting in the marriage of my friend Sherlock Holmes with Miss Falkland. For some time after that event, my friend gave up professional work and went abroad with his wife. Our rooms in Baker Street were of course destroyed, and my practice occupied my full time, and certainly prospered all the better for receiving my undivided attention. From time to time, however, he would be recalled to my memory by some startling and unexplained case claiming my attention in the morning's newspaper, and in the unforeseen circumstances and the unexpected turn of events, or remarkable instances of fresh light being thrown on some obscure point, I would recognise my friend's unparalleled genius, though with characteristic modesty, his name never appeared. For instance, there was a remarkable case of the hereditary Princess of Schottenliegenden, which culminated in a royal divorce, and the still more recent affair of the Grand Nurse-in-Waiting's tame monkey, which made such a stir and resulted in the suicide of the Russian consul. It was when the public excitement was at its height over the great bribery case in connection with the Pope's birthday celebrations, and suspicion had settled on a well-known workhouse official, that I again received intimation that Holmes was in England. I had just come in from a long round when the maidservant brought in a note whose appearance struck me at once familiar. As I tore it open, I mechanically noticed it was written on a cream-laid paper with a printed address, and the stamp was in the top right-hand corner of the envelope. This lapse into a long-forgotten habit made me think of Holmes, and I was not surprised to recognise his signature at the foot of the sheet. "Dear Watson," it ran, "can you come round to the old place at 3 p.m. tomorrow? Yours, S.H." I hastily scribbled my acceptance, and the following day, having turned over my practice to my assistant and locked the dispensary door for fear of accidents, I hailed a city atlas and soon found myself en route for Baker Street. Holmes had taken rooms just above our former locality. The door was opened by a tired-looking maid. I entered and encountered the gaze of a child about 3 years of age. He was wearing a miniature dressing gown and had just been taking an impression of a cat's foot and a piece of dough. Before I had time to speak, he had crawled rapidly and noiselessly up the stairs and announced me, "Pa, there's a man to see you." "Who is it?" answered Holmes' voice, and I was struck by the weariness of his tone. "He is a doctor, poor, and he's got a wife, but she's away. He came in an omnibus. It was very full. A lady got in too, but he did not get up to give her a seat, same as he ought to," said this remarkable child. I entered in response to Holmes' invitation. The apartment was thick with tobacco smoke, and Holmes was listlessly repairing a string in his violin. He held out his hand with something like his old heartiness, but there was a tired look in his eyes I did not like. "Ah, Watson, I'm glad to see you again." Then, following the direction of my glance, "This is my son. Sherlock, come and say how do you do to the gentleman. He's quite well. He did have a cold, but that is quite well too. And he didn't put nothing in his bag last Sunday. Finished this remarkable infant. I turned to Holmes in amazement. But how on earth? All he knows, said my friend rather bitterly. There isn't much he can't see, but it is your professional assistance I want you for now. Holmes was not a man to take such a step lightly, and my gravest fears were aroused. I glanced keenly at him. His eyes were closed. His temperature was normal, but the pulse was beating in quick, irregular jerks, and symptoms pointed to a slight cerebral congestion. An application of the stethoscope showed me at a glance his nerves were all to pieces. He languidly turned up his sleeve. No, I said firmly, laying my hand upon a small hypodermic syringe he had taken from a pocket of his dressing gown. I cannot allow any more morphia. You only need rest and a complete change. Heaven knows you're right, Watson, my dear fellow, but how the deuce am I to get it? Can you tell me that? I felt there was something more than appeared on the surface. What is it that prevents you? Not Moriarty again? Holmes looked at me in something of the old manner. Watson, when shall I teach you to eliminate the obviously impossible? We have already twice disposed of Moriarty, once in the Strand and again at the Lyceum. You will remember the circumstances very well. He sighed. No, this isn't Moriarty. His eyes wandered to his child, who was scraping the sole of a shoe and examining matter so obtained by the aid of a powerful lens. It was Martha meddled with my specimens, and she said it was the cat, the infant announced conclusively. His face darkened, and he crawled off after the offending Martha. Holmes turned to me. What do you make of it, Watson? I hesitated. It is evident he has your talents. It must be gratifying. Watson, it's killing me. All day long, every hour of the day he's at it. My wife has broken down, nervous system completely shattered. No one will visit us. We can't keep a servant. They can't put up with it. Surely, I said, it's not so bad. He's only a baby. Holmes smiled bitterly. He contrives to do a great deal in his way. He told Dean's wife that her husband had been married before, and that her diamonds were not real. He took the opportunity of announcing at a home that Sir Ronald's grandfather was a tailor in Stepney, and he'd made his money in patent pills, and he was afraid of his valet. He took an impression in wax of the vicar's thumb, and subsequently told him that his sermons were not his own, that he had some money on Daystar at the St. Ledger, and his niece was a seamstress, and his brother-in-law was doing time for forgery. He tracked the area policeman for over 3 weeks to find out where he went when he was off duty, and he told the tax collector his back teeth were false. You have seen for yourself, he is after Martha now. She'll give notice next. Why don't you keep him in the nursery? They can't. He outwits them in every possible way. No, there is only one thing to be done. I must take the job myself, Watson. Watson, if you're a truthful person, you will faithfully recount this in the memoirs you're giving to the public. I, who have baffled Moriarty, I, who have taken a hand in unravelling most of the mysteries that have perplexed Europe, with knowledge enough of the seamy sides of court and the back doors of politics to bring down European war, I am now compelled to turn all my energies to circumnavigating my own son, and Watson, it is killing me. He plunged his hands deep in his dressing gown pockets, and his chin fell on his breast. I crept softly and closed the door. The end. I hope you enjoyed this, and please subscribe, like, and I'll see you next episode. Bye bye.